The 2025-2026 NBA season officially ended on Sunday, and every year after the season is over, the NBA starts to hand out their hardware, their awards, the MVP, the Defensive Player of the Year, the Sixth Man of the Year, the Rookie of the Year. All of these awards are starting to be given out, but of course, naturally, they don't always get it right.
Listen to me. You're wrong.
There are some players who win awards who you're like, why the fuck did they win that award? And some players who don't get awards and you're like, oh, they definitely got absolutely hoed because a writer or two decided to be a dumbass. It ain't no dumbasses here.
Allegedly.
And today, I'll be giving you the official T-Lo Big Boss Award winners for this NBA season.
Hey, let's do this! Let's do it! Let's do it! I'm a hype!
Now, all of these awards are not easy to pick. I'm going to say that right now. Some of them, okay, yeah, I didn't really have to think much about them, but there were a couple that really left me scratching my head. The main one being the MVP race. It is a legit, well, really three-man race, but you can add Luka in there. It's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Nikola Jokic, Victor Wembanyama, and Luka Doncic. I think Luka's a little bit lower than the other three, but he still deserves some praise, and he deserves to be in these conversations after the way he ended the season. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I mean, shit, one of the most consistent players all throughout the entire year, and not just consistent as he was just playing like average or mid. No, Shai was one of the best players in the NBA, if not the best player in the NBA this season, because in my opinion,
That boy is good.
I think he's started to solidify himself as the undisputed best player in the league this season. Not to say he's there yet, but damn, he's getting there. But then Nikola Jokic, although he was out with an injury, he still started off the season very strong. And even though, you know, when he came back from the injury, he was a little rusty. Jokic wasn't really looking like Jokic that we know. Jokic just started to really pick it up and going to the playoffs. He's starting to really hit his stride. And Victor Wembanyama, I mean, I don't have to talk about Victor Wembanyama too much, bro. Vic has honestly been fucking killing all season. But then the Rookie of the Year race, two-man race, started the season. You could argue VJ Edgecombe was leading it because he was going absolutely bonkers, but naturally as rookies do, he slowed down, he started to lose some of that momentum, and he's in third place. But Cooper Flag and Con Knuppel, 1 and 2. I ain't gonna say who won, I ain't gonna say who two, but they're definitely 1 and 2, and I actually made a video breaking that down, so if y'all want to check that out, go ahead and check that out. But let's see who won these awards.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live!
Now, the first one is MVP. I talked about MVP already a little bit. You know, I dug into Shai's case for MVP, Vic's case for MVP, Jokic's, you know, Luka Doncic, but let's really tap in from bottom to top. Luka Doncic. To end the season out, Luka Doncic had one of the best stretches that I think we have ever seen from a guard in NBA history. Multiple 50-point games, 40-point games, had the Lakers looking like the best they have all season. They weren't just like dominating on teams that they were lesser. I mean, that they were clearly better than, which they were. One of those 50-point games was against the Chicago fucking Bulls, you know what I'm saying? Who just fired their whole like little front office, but they were looking good against teams who were going to be pretty competitive upcoming in the playoffs. And a lot of that was due to how great Luka Doncic had looked. Like Luka Doncic was playing on an entirely different level. LeBron started to catch a start, all of that. So Luka naturally started to work his way in them MVP conversations, especially after people were, you know, questioning and all this type of shit earlier in the season, whatever. Unfortunately, I can't put him above a Shai, Jokic, or Wemby because as great as Luka played, he wasn't playing like that for majority of the season, and I think these other players honestly have higher highs than he has. Third place. This is a hard one. It was really between two people for me. It was between Luka and Jokic. But I had to put Jokic at 3. Jokic, honestly, I really want him to be number 1. And if anyone has Jokic winning, I will not blame you. Like I said, this is a 4-man race. But Nikola Jokic is number 3 for me, simply because he started to kind of fall off when he got back from injury, you know, and when you really compare it to the consistency and how great Vic and Shai had played all season, it kind of does hurt him a little bit for him to come back from injury, be turning the ball over at like unusual rates, just not really looking that comfortable out there on the floor, looking like he had just came back from fucking injury. You know, you can't help that, but when you have Vic out here killing like how he was and Shai, man, it's really not much that you can do. With that being said, still got to put him at 3. Now, 1 and 2. Now, this is a 2-man race at this point. It's between Vic and Shai. Now, I'm going to be real. I'll pick Shai. I made the video breaking it all down in detail, so you can go check that out if you want to. But Vic has made this into a real conversation. I mean, with the way he's ended the season, I mean, the way he's played throughout the whole season, he literally took Shea's chain twice when they played and beat them. One of the only teams to actually beat and look better than the Thunder consistently this season. Victor Wembanyama was at the head of the team. He has been dominating defensively. Teams are literally scared to go in the paint. Bro, teams don't even want to drive on this man when he's standing in the paint. They'll literally drive and see him and double think and just try to do every fucking thing they can just to not go head up with him again at the rim. I wouldn't want to go up against that nigga either. He's 7 foot 1,000. Can't nobody finish over that nigga. And he has been honestly the most dominant player defensively throughout the entire season, while also bringing you some pretty significant contributions on the offensive side of the ball with the shooting, the driving, the lobs, the aggressiveness. He's been Victor Wembanyama. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander,
Lord have mercy,
I have to give him the MVP because with all that the Thunder have gone through with the injuries, J-Dub has been out, Isaiah Hartenstein has been out, Chet has been struggling. Everybody on this team at some point in time has been out except for Shai. Shai has been consistent and he's looked like a top guy. And even when they didn't have a J-Dub, who was an all-NBA, all-defensive team last year, they were still sitting up here like 24-1 on some shit. And that's because of Shai. And even when they went through their quote-unquote struggles where they couldn't beat the Spurs, they couldn't beat all these teams, listen, I get the concern, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was still playing amazing. And honestly, what stood it up for me was that game against the Nuggets in late February where he hit a game winner, and then the Nuggets come down, they do something, then Shai has to come back down, and he hits another game winner. Then he has another game where he hits a game winner. It gets called off for a push-off. He goes into overtime. He scores like I don't know how many points, and ends up winning the game anyway. He has been one of the best players down the stretch, in the mid-range, scoring the ball, but he's also taking the leap with his playmaking abilities. This isn't the same Shai Gilgeous-Alexander that I used to know. In that Nuggets game that I just referenced, he had like 13 assists. He was legitimately making the right play every single time. You're going to bring multiple guys on me, put multiple guys in my face. Hold up! Then I'm going to pass the ball. I'm going to find open man, and that is why I have to give Shai Gilgeous-Alexander my MVP. Yeah! Now the next award that gave me headaches. This one, like I said, two-man race. The Rookie of the Year. VJ Edgecombe is 3, respectfully. You know, great start to the season, but the end of the season, just struggled and stuff like that. All the things that was going on in Philly, he wasn't really flourishing like that. So that just left Khan and Coop. And I made a whole video on this going through my spill last week, so you can see me go into real detail about this, but I have to take Khan Knuckle. And the reason is because I can't fault Coop for his team not being as good as the Hornets. I cannot fault him for that. And Coop has been phenomenal, and that's why it's so hard. That's why it's up in the air, because Coop has been amazing. I mean, he's the youngest player in NBA history to have a 50-point game, followed up with another 40-point game where they beat the LA Lakers. That's because of the way Cooper Flag was playing. But Khan has been better than Coop all throughout the season, in my opinion. I think he has had the better year in total. And although I can't take it away from Coop with the fact his team isn't that good, I can give it to Khan for him being a major reason why the Hornets are legitimate playoff teams right now. While they are making a legit playoff push right now if they win their playing game that I think is actually going on right now as I'm speaking. I don't really know. But I have to give Khan that. For him to be a legit top option, not just like some 4th, 5th, 6th guy on the team. No, this dude is a top 3 option on most nights for the Hornets. To be doing that as a rookie in a team that's like actually playing for something, you know, they're playing for a playoff spot, maybe not a championship, but they're playing for a playoff spot, a legit playoff spot. I have to give him that. And that's honestly what it came down to for me giving Khan the edge over Coop, because he has contributed to winning basketball, and he just honestly has been more consistent and better over the duration of the entire season. Now, those are the 2 hard ones. The rest of these, not really that difficult. Defensive Player of the Year. Victor, Chet, put Bam in there if you want. Give me Vic. It's really, listen, all due respect to Chet, all due respect to everybody else, Amin Thompson, Bam Adebayo, it's Vic. Vic is the best defensive player in the league. He can defend you on the perimeter. If you try to attack him at the rim, that shit not going, bro. It's Vic. Like, nigga, it's curtains for you if you even try to finish on him at the rim. Teams don't want to drive on this man. It is Vic. Vic is the defensive player of the year. 6th man of the year. I don't cap. This year probably had to be one of the most boring 6th man of the year races that I can remember in recent history. Like, truth be told, this award wasn't hitting on shit for me at all. It was kind of a weak race this year. I ended up giving it to Tim Hardaway Jr. for the Nuggets. I think he has had a phenomenal season overall this year. And there were some people you can include: Jaime Jaquez, Keldon Johnson, Reed Shepard. I guess if you want to include Reed Shepard, he had a pretty decent season. But I'd give it to Tim Hardaway Jr. I think he is exactly what the Nuggets have needed this season. And he's had one hell of a season, honestly. And I think he's going to be really big for them in the playoffs. But especially in the regular season, there were times where I'd be watching Nuggets and he just over here gassing, just hitting shit that, I'm be real, I didn't think he was going to be able to make. And kind of in a J.R. Smith-esque way, where it's like, I mean, this could go in, and when he's on fire, he's on fire. And if it's not on fire, then it's a hard watch. But he had a lot more on fire moments this season than times where he was ass. So I gave my sixth man of the year to Tim Hardaway Jr. Then clutch player of the year, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. It's the same thing with Vic. I mean, yeah, there are other players who are pretty good in the clutch, but none of them are as good as Shai.
I just wanted to be honest, and I wanted to be real with you guys.
Shai has just literally gone on stretches where he scored multiple 10 points. He scored like 10 points in the fourth quarter, 10 points in a row, literally just dug his team out the hole. When he comes in the fourth, the team might be struggling, be a below average offense, because that is a very rough watch when Shai is not on the floor. And Shai will just come in and just like, hey, like, we're going to win the game. And they'll just win the game. So yeah, Shai, clutch player of the year. Okay, now I ain't going to fake. These next two awards are ones I overlooked and didn't expect to be as difficult as they were, but they were actually kind of hard. The first one is coach of the year. Coach of the year comes down to Joe Mazzulla, J.B. Bickerstaff, and Mitch Johnson for the San Antonio Spurs. To me, honestly, I have to give it to Joe Mazzulla. I understand what J.B. Bickerstaff has done in Detroit. He's done a complete culture overhaul from since they was dealing with Monty and the boys back in the day where it was fucking struggling. J.B. Bickerstaff has come in and completely transformed that team to where they are a number one seed. And even when their best player, Cade Cunningham, is not playing, they are still out there killing the winning games like they did against the Hornets on Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. But he wasn't winning. Mitch Johnson, same thing with the Spurs. I think the Spurs played and performed well above expectations this year. I don't think anyone was expecting them to be a second seed, maybe a cool little fourth, fifth seed, you know what I'm saying, right outside the play-in, still competing for the playoffs because you have Victor Wembanyama. But second seed in the West? Oh, no. Beating the Thunder as many times as they did and looking like they were better than them? Oh, no. I don't think anybody was expecting that. But
I say, hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right.
when I say, oh, they finished way better and they performed way better than you thought they was, that's why it has to go to Joe Mazzulla. The Celtics literally embody, like, hey, we played way better than we were supposed to this upcoming season. This season, the Celtics, for them to be, like, I think the second or third seed in the league right now, let me check. Okay, yeah, for the Celtics to be the second seed in the Eastern Conference right now, in a year where, honestly and truthfully, bro, I was thinking that they were going to be team tank. They was going to be on some Indiana Pacers shit where they just tanking. Jason Tatum is out, which they really could have. And with, me kind of doubting the capabilities of Jaylen Brown a little bit, I thought they were going to be struggling. And a lot of their success can be attributed to how great Jaylen Brown has been. But Joe Mazzulla had to come in and coach that team and had a lot of guys who really had not seen the type of playtime and minutes that they have seen this year. They hadn't really been accustomed to doing shit like that before in the past, where maybe they were in the G League, maybe they weren't getting a lot of playtime on other teams. For them to come in on the Celtics this year and them to perform like, hey, yeah, we've been playing the game for a long time, nigga. We've been starting, we've been doing all this type of shit, like Luka Garza, what's the ball dude name? Jordan Walsh, all of them guys. For them to come in and be hooping, a lot of that has to be attributed to the way Joe Mazzulla just had this team playing efficient, elite, Mazzulla ball, as people like to call it. I have to give him coach of the year. Yeah! And the final one, most improved player. Boy, oh boy.
Oh, boy!
This is one. Well, there are a couple people that it really came down to for me. I think Jalen Duren is the obvious one, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is an interesting case because I was a Nickeil guy coming out of college. When he was coming out of college, I was like, yo, this dude, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, he can hoop, he can score, he's going to the Pelicans, and of course, the Pelicans had their whole shit going on at that point, so I'm over here buying into what the Pelicans has got going on. They just add Nickeil Alexander-Walker, but he was on the Pelicans, and he was struggling. He was sitting up here trying to score, he was trying to do all this different type of shit, and it just honestly was not working for him at all. He was scoring, but he wasn't really doing it well enough to where you're like, oh yeah, like this guy can stay on our team. He was kind of mid, wasn't really all that exciting, and kind of a letdown. And then he got moved. I don't know if he went straight. I can't remember if he went straight to the Timberwolves or he went somewhere else before. I think he was at the Jazz. But anyways, he went somewhere after the Pelicans. But it wasn't until he got to the Timberwolves where he fully realized, like, hey, if I want to stay around this league, I need to do something of value somewhere else. And that was playing defense. And that's why he was one of the most sought after players in the free agency period this past offseason, because he was locking down and he was a big reason for the Timberwolves' success. But then he sits up here and goes to Atlanta, and you still get that all defense caliber player that you are used to in Minnesota, but then you get a dude averaging 20 plus points to go along with it. A legitimate two-way players, and we don't see a lot of them nowadays in the league. Hey, they don't make them like that no more when they playing both sides of the ball, getting the best player. You feel what I'm saying? The old heads be saying, yeah, they don't make them like that no more. They do not make them like that no more. But Nickeil Alexander-Walker has come out this season. He has been that. But then you have Jalen Duren, a guy who, like, I mean, when you just think about his journey to the league, all the shit that went on with Memphis and all the stuff that happened, he legitimately turned into a legit number 2 option for the Pistons this year. Cade is now, you're literally looking at him, and he's over here making moves. Like, I remember at the start of the season, he was sitting here crossing people up, shooting jump shots over niggas, all type of shit. He was going fucking wild to start the season. Maybe he was on steroids, I don't know, but he looked really fucking good. So it came down to him and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. And I'm still kind of up in the air about this one, but for Tilo Bitball's most improved player, I have to give it to Jalen Duren. When Cade, and I think what sealed it was really when Cade Cunningham was like out at the end of the season, it was clear that like he was next in line to kind of lead that offense. I mean, they didn't really skip a beat. They were 8-3 when Cade Cunningham was out. And you would think with Cade Cunningham, their best player, not playing, that they would struggle at least a little bit, which they did, obviously. You're going to notice when the talent like Cade Cunningham isn't out there anymore. But, Jalen Duren, boy, he was hooping. He was hooping, and he really made like the loss of Cade less minimal than what it really is. Now, I don't cap. Some of these awards really were very difficult to pick. I didn't expect it, but the most improved player, the MVP, and the rookie of the year were definitely very hard to pick. The other awards, I didn't really like struggle too much on them. It really wasn't that big of a deal to me. I didn't really have to go too in depth on them and think too hard about who's gonna win. But those 3 definitely gave me a run for my money. Now, for my All-NBA teams, I released a video last week going into who I have on my All-NBA teams. So y'all can go check that out. For defensive teams, I'm not really good with engaging who should be on defensive teams and who shouldn't. If I gave y'all one, it would really be a little bit of bullshit, you know what I'm saying? It would be a lot of names that you would already see. I don't have anything really meaningful to contribute to it, so I am not going to give that to y'all. But All NBA team, go ahead, check that video out. If I'm wilding with my awards, y'all let me know down below who y'all agree with, who y'all disagree with. Even though I don't got an official ballot, treat me like I'm an official writer. Treat me like I'm an official guy who put this in and sent it to the league. Because my vote gonna matter one day, best believe. But if you disagree with what I said, or if you have any other different people, let me know who, why, what, how, when, where down below in the comments. But that's all I have for today. I'll be back later this week with another video because the playoffs are coming and Tilo, Bitboss, and Word of Mouth will be tuned in all weekend. But that's all I got. And until next time, peace.